Alright, Meteor. First of all, gonna starting with 3 pieces. So pieces you can see without getting a hint for them. The first one is between the second and third levels. You can see that about here. If you drop down like this at the beginning from the level, you can see it moving up here and then turning around and down. If you get it, what you do is you can just do this and then you grab it and then you go back here. So next one is at the top of the tip of the arc. This is really hard to see. When you go up the rocket like that, you can see it around here. It's very small, you have to look really closely, and the problem with that is it only comes into render distance at the very last moment before you drop off the rocket, or before it goes off screen up here. There's a very short moment where you can see it, and it's very small. So if you play this on a bigger resolution, it's obviously easier to see. So if you get this piece, what you do, you don't usually grab it immediately, but if you, for example, get like a piece over here, and then you know the piece is there, you can hit this spring, and then you can fly here and then grab it. That's what you do if you get this 3-piece. So next 3-piece, I'm going up the rocket again to show realistic run situation. So next 3-piece is here. That is floating between the 3 tanks, or something it's called. It's moving in circles around here. You can see it fairly easy. Usually, if you practice, if you know what you're looking for, it's enough if you just look at it like that, and then you can turn around if you have to go like in this direction or something. So last 3-piece, that is moving smoothly on the top of the arc. And that is, you don't usually look for that. There's only a few cases where you have to look for it. For example, if you go up and go to black boxes on a black platform, or guns machine protecting the arc, that's like the only place where it's useful to look for. If you go to black boxes, so to the left, you can just go over here, and then if you go low on this platform, so don't immediately fly up to the back platform, go a bit lower, land on this platform, and then you see the piece moving up about here on this ledge. It's moving up here and then goes on the platform. You can see it easily if you look for it. And if you go to the right, guns machine protecting the arc, what you do is kinda can drop down here and then turn around. It's a bit hard to see, but with practice it works. Yeah, that's with 3 pieces. So restart pieces you want to reset on if you get them. It's debatable. There's few where it's pretty sure you can reset. Generally you want to reset first pieces at the top. You definitely want to reset guns machine protecting the arc, because that's at the top and at the very back. Other piece that's at the top is dangerous water drops, which is better piece than guns machine, but I personally reset for it, but it's debatable if it's useful. And another one is this one, dangerous liquid. The problem with that one is dangerous liquid can be in 2 places, and one is in the middle of the level and one is at the very top. And you cannot tell which one it is. So the one in the middle is actually really good, so you don't want to reset for dangerous liquid, because you might reset the very good piece, and the bad one is not that bad that you would risk that. So in this case we got the middle one that is here. You can just, yeah, that's a really good piece if you get that. And the top one is up the rocket and to the left. And this is dangerous water drops, and Gun's machine protecting the Ark is here. So other pieces you could reset for are bottom pieces. Personally, there's quite a bunch of bottom pieces and some are really fast to grab. So the only bottom pieces I reset for are those that are on the very back of the level where you have to go really far for. That is this one between the noisy machines, this between the rotating beacons, and center of a triangle star. So these are on the very other side on the bottom level and take quite a while to grab. And then you have to go back to the middle and climb back up, so that's pretty slow. And I go for all the other bottom pieces. But that is more debatable if you should actually reset for that. Like, you can get pretty good piece layouts with triangle star, for example. Between the rotating beacons is probably the least debatable of the ones to reset. But yeah, that's about it. So something that's important about this level, about the general routing, if you're on one of these platforms, like for example, kind of like low level on these platforms, and you can't really get from anywhere, like there's no really fast way up and you don't really know what to do. If in doubt, always go down and grab this rocket. And then you're on top again, with easy access to everything. If you're like on these low platforms right here somewhere, and you have to go up, don't try to climb your way up like this or something, because this is really fucking slow. And on top of that, a lot more difficult. So you have to do all this jank right here to get up. Well, actually you just can go down here and grab this rocket. So if you're not sure how to go up, always go down and get this rocket. So something that's really important if you want to remember where pieces on the bottom are, when you're learning the pieces and whenever you collect a piece on the bottom, try to remember where on the floor the pieces are. So there are different areas with different colors on the floor, on the ground level. One is gray, one is red, one is green. This piece is in gray, which should be here. Yep. And remembering which places of the level are over which color ground is very useful as well. So then if you get a piece on the bottom and you have to go down, you don't have to look for very long until you find it. So another important part of how to keep track of where you have to go, whenever you take the rocket that you first go up as a reference, and from there you know, like, go down, go left, go right to get to a place. For example, this piece is go up this rocket, so you're in this direction and then you turn around and it's behind you on this platform. So and from that you can use that to remember different things. For example, another piece that is right here is mini steel beam. So if you try to remember the directions and try to relate them to other pieces, you can navigate fairly easily and consistently through the level without getting lost and having to look for too long. Something cool to speed yourself up when you have a first piece on the bottom is this. All you need to do is basically you fly over this, you drill dive on this slope, and then you just do a full jump and hold it until you land on the ground. So, well, that was a good snipe. That was bad. Like this. So of course you can also do the slope jump in the other direction. So all you do is you walk towards this, then you jump here, and then as soon as you land on this slope here, you do a full jump, and that can get you all the way up here without having to climb. The only thing you have to pay attention to is you have to jump as soon as you land on this, because as soon as you try to run up this slope, it'll drop your jump like that, and you just kind of fly off and you don't really get height, so that's kind of bad. Another slope boost you can do, which I do for the first stage when I'm coming from the top, especially around this area, is I go down here, and then you see on the bulldozer this roof here. It's a slope, and if you drill dive on it, you can. Ah, that was bad. You can either do this, or you do this if you get actually a proper jump off the roof. That's a bit finicky sometimes though. So you can also do this to gain height so that you have to climb less, like that. Or like that. You just need to be careful that you don't land on the roof in the gliding state, because that can kind of cancel your momentum. Like that. So that won't work with the slope jump then. So this piece, Ark's huge storage area, can be, if it's a first piece, if you get that hint for a first piece, it can be in 4 different places. One is on this container, the other one is on this container right under the hint, and the other 2 are down here on this platform and on this platform. And you can see the ones on top fairly easily, especially the one on front that we got here, and after a while you can learn to tell which one it is by the radar if it's one of the bottom ones that you can't see. You have to be careful if you get... many people don't know this exists, and I forgot it as well. When I get it sometimes, if you get a second piece and the hint is the Ark's huge storage area, it is not over here, then it is over here in this container right here. This is a really uncommon piece, and the hint is the same as this very common first piece over here, so many people confuse that or don't know it exists, so that is really mean. So this piece right here, fast rotating meteorite, can be in 2 different meteorites, and guessing the wrong one can waste some time and can be pretty risky as well if you miss it and then fall down or something. So yeah, it's in this area. The one is this meteorite, the small one, and the other one is that one over here. In this case it's the big one. So first of all, telling which one it is. If you grab the rocket, then you go over here, look for the piece, and then go down here. If you look at the radar, the big one on the right side will start blinking just when you pass over this platform right here. See? About here it starts blinking green, and the one to the left only starts blinking about here. So yeah, from that you can tell which one it is fairly easily. You have to pay attention to this platform, and if it starts blinking right as you pass it, it's the one to the right, and if not, it's the one to the left. So another problem with this piece, particularly the one to the right, is it has a really bad hitbox. Like usually the pieces are programmed so that you automatically collect them when you destroy the meteorite. That doesn't quite work with this piece for some reason. So what you can do is this. Basically you glide towards it and then you let go of A and then hold A again really quickly, so that you can that you drop the glide and you kind of descend very slowly towards the piece, and then you have kind of a bigger hitbox, I would say. Anyways, that makes it quite a lot easier to grab. So for the left one, that's not really a problem because that hitbox works quite well. You can just go through here, and even if you miss it, you have these platforms that you can save yourself on. But for this other piece, it's a lot more dangerous because it's right here in between the platforms, and if you miss it, you waste a lot of time, and then you have to set yourself again up again and to try to grab it, and you go back and forth, and everything is terrible. So on top of the steel drilling tower is a piece of shit. It can be on two entirely different places on the opposite sides of the map. What I prefer doing here is one is over here, and I try to fly above it and then drill dive down when I'm above it. So when I go down, in this case the radar went off because I guessed the right one. But if I'm coming from the top and I notice the radar isn't going off, I still have a lot of height to go to the other steel drilling tower. While when I like, for example, only have this height, like if I come from top and I drill dive here, like here, and then I go to the outside of the map, and then I come here and notice it's not here, I have to turn around, and then you have to either glide reset very well over here, or you have to hit that spring to get new height to get over. So I like to approach it from the very top so that I have a lot of height when I can tell if it's the one I'm guessing for or not. By the way, a common misconception is there is 3 steel drilling towers on the map, but it's actually never this one. It's always the one on the green ground, this one here. Green ground, this is supposed to be green, I don't know. Or the one on the gray ground over here, but never the one on the red ground. Also, if you fell down and you wanna get this piece and you have to climb up on the side, there's this ledge up here, which is really stupid. But you can line yourself around here about 1 knuckles under that ledge and do a full jump, and then hold forward about in the middle of the jump, and then you get up here. Like that. So if you try to do that when you're right under this ledge, you will kind of bonk into the ledge and you don't get any height. If you go too low, you don't get on it. So 1 knuckles length, or a bit, just a bit under the ledge, kind of is the best. And I'm dead. So something people like to confuse a lot is evil water drops, confused with dangerous water drops. And evil water drops over here, and dangerous water drops is up here to the right. Here. So jump from the star is a very common piece, but can be a bit confusing. The easiest way to grab it, it can be in 3 different meteorites, and the easiest way to tell which one it is by just hitting this spring. And right now you can see you have no radar, which means it is this meteorite. When you're at the spring and the radar is green, it is this meteorite. That is the highest one, the biggest one. And when you're at the spring and the radar is yellow, it is this one. So what you might notice as well is they have different heights. So the big one is the big one right here is the highest. Then you have this one, the closest one, and then the far one is actually the lowest. So if you, for example, have a position coming from here where you have a bit of height, well, that was just rude. Let me just go there really quickly again. That happens when you stand still for too long in this level. So if you come from here, for example, and you have to collect jump from the star, you can just do a full jump here and fly towards this. And with this height you can fairly easily grab the close one, which is here. So this is the close one, and this is the high one, which you cannot grab. If you have that, it's just bad luck. And the far one is very easy to get from here. And if you just fly like that towards the piece and it turns out it's the top one, which you cannot get, you can just kind of like turn around and go back to the spring and still hit the top one. So if you're at the top of the level and get jump from the star, you don't have to hit the spring, you can just go down here. And then you aim for this one first because it's the highest. And from there you can, if it's not that one, you can still go for the other ones. And it's not this one, so now you go here. If it's not this one, you can still grab this one. If it's the back one, you see it early. Because then the radar is still only green or something. That's fairly easy to see. In front of the shortcut rocket, best first piece. Small trick to make it a bit faster. It can be both on the left and the right side. And when you go up the spring, you tend to be able to see the piece on the right side fairly easily. If you go up like here, you can see here is the platform where it's on. And if you can see the one on the right side, which is here. You can see it fairly easily, so you know nothing is here. So you know it's the one on the left, which is harder to see. So like that you can speed that up. So this piece in the floating containers, it's about here, on this platform below us. And we don't. It's in this floating container here. You don't actually have to break it. You can just fly towards it and then drill dive through it. That was kind of bad, but yeah, basically that's what you can do. And you can also do that the same with the piece next to the rocket pointing at the arc, which is in this box right here. Here it's a bit harder to hit because it's flying higher, but you can also just kind of do this. It's a bit tricky, you kind of have to get a feeling for the hitbox, for how the box pushes you off, and yeah, but you can do that. Many people have trouble grabbing this piece. The easiest way is to just stand on this platform and then look at it coming, and then you can easily jump into it. So we've got this piece here, try digging while watching the moon. This is also go for try digging while watching the stars. It's the kind of same thing. If we're on the bottom and we're going up, right here, it can be on 3 different heights, on 3 different platforms with three different heights each, and This one is the lowest, so you go up this spring and it already starts blinking. For this one, it actually is the best to not take the rocket and to just climb up here and get here, and here's the piece. So, yeah. A thing specifically for this piece. This is specifically for try digging while watching the moon. On the bottom platform. Moon on the bottom platform. This piece specifically, not the other ones. This piece can be either low in the platform or high in the platform. So what you do not want to do for this piece is dig in the middle, because then you might miss it, and then you still don't know where it is. So if you try either low or top in the platform, then you have a 50-50 chance, and if you miss it, you know where it is. And if you dig in the middle, you might still miss it, and you still don't know where it is. So you might end up with like 3 digs, while here, if you either dig at the top or the bottom, you have 2 digs at most. Anyways, if we go up the rocket, let's pretend this piece is not here, and we get one of the other try-digging while watching the moons. You can tell when it's at where it is from the radar at the rocket. If the radar starts blinking about here, when it starts here, you drop down the rocket, and then you go here to the right side, and then it is here's the moon and here's the star. And if you go up the rocket and it starts blinking at the very top when you drop off, it's right here to the left. Here's the moon and here's the star. So another interesting routing for this piece, if you drop down from the top and you have to grab this piece, what you want to do is I'm gonna fly out so you can maybe see it. Yeah, basically, you see this platform and this platform. This platform is has try-digging while watching the moon and star on it. Here's the moon, here's the star. And this platform has them on it. Here's the moon and here's the star. And this one is right above this one. So, and the other one is on the other side of the map. So if you're coming from the top, have to grab this piece, what you want to do is you just drill dive down next to this platform. You see it's not here. Then you go down past this platform right to this platform. And in our case it's here. But if it's not here, then it must be on this platform up here, this one. And luckily on this bottom platform there's a spring right here, and that takes you right there. And then here's the moon and here's the star. So yeah, that's how you can easily tell which one it is. So there's this piece mini steel beam, and it can be on either this side or this side, and the good way to save yourself these 2 seconds of checking which side is if you take a close look at the hint of it, because there's a difference. There is next to a mini steel beam and next to the mini steel beam, and next to the mini steel beam is on the left side, and next to a mini steel beam is on the right side. So a cage in a container, that's best to grab with the spiral upper. It's in this right container at the front here. You go in here, and some hit here, some here try to do a spiral upper here, but what I prefer to do is I go with momentum. I just run into this corner, and from here you can't go really anywhere. You can't go away from that thing, and here it's really easy to do the spiral upper without going too far away from the containers to get the piece. And if you try to do that in front of the containers, you might turn around the control stick and then accidentally walk too far away from the containers and not get the piece anymore. Stuff like that. So here's something I do for two specific pieces, that is in front of a big door that never opens, first piece, and on something strong. On something powerful? No, on something strong. Yeah. On something strong and in front of a big door that never opens, both as first pieces. So basically I grab them like I would do every time, and then because these pieces are very close to the middle and have very convenient things that can make you go up quickly, right next to them. Like here you have the slope where you can get up here onto the other piece. I'm gonna go there really quickly. The piece on something strong is on this here, and then from here you can get really quickly up here without having to climb. So in this case I do not waste any time grabbing a hint down here, and instead just go up without hint. And then I grab this rocket, and then there is 4 pieces you can encounter here. If the radar goes green and then is yellow on the moment where you drop off the rocket, it is this one. If you go up the rocket and it goes green, then yellow, and then as it drops you off it goes green again, it is dangerous liquid, this guy. And if you drop off the rocket and as it drops you off, it starts pinging green. You go to the left and then it's next to the rocket aiming at the arc, which is right here. And if you go up and you get nothing, you can still see either this free piece or this free piece right here. And if you get nothing, you drop down the rocket and then you just drop here next to the hint, and then you can still grab this hint. So there's this piece called Between the Two Rotating Beacons, and it's a bit stupid because it's right here between the spring and the non-diggable surface, and you have to dig it up like that. And going here and lining yourself up is very slow, and usually many people just try to kind of come from here and then try to hit it like that to dig it up and then end up hitting the spring, and that's really slow. Something you can do to make your life easier is to come from the side here and just dig it up like that, because if you come from the side, come from here, you see the area that you have to hit very well, and you have a good perspective to time when you have to drill dive, as opposed to when you come from here, where you kind of where you have a bad perspective and it's kind of obstructed by the spring, which makes it really hard to time when to drill dive, and then it's much easier to hit if you're coming from the side. So something you gotta pay attention to that you don't mix up the pieces between the rotating beacons, between the two rotating beacons and middle of the rotating beacon. So firstly we have between the rotating beacons as a first piece, which is when you start all the way over here behind this platform. That is the first piece only. It's here. It's a bad piece, should be reset usually. And then the other two are third pieces. So, between the two rotating beacons is a third piece, and it's over here. And then there's middle of the rotating beacon. It's also a third piece, and that is right here. So, this piece, use a meteorite that flies when you hit it, is a bit finicky to grab. Basically what you want to pay attention to when you hit the meteor, it doesn't really matter how fast you hit it, so you can just go in without too much attention to how fast you go and how close you hit it. But it's important of in which direction you hit it, and what you want to aim for is actually the right side of this door. If you aim too far left, it doesn't work for some reason. So if you come like this and then you hit here, and then it works.